So welcome everyone, and thank you for participating in this evening's event. My name is Dawn Tomlinson, and I am a proud resident of Fort Langley and a recent retiree from the Langley School District. And as I explained last night, I have been asked to moderate this evening probably because part of my career was principal of Langley Secondary for many years. And you can imagine trying to control an assembly of over 1,000 teenagers. So probably that's why I was chosen to do this for the last couple nights. So the purpose of this evening is to hear from our candidates regarding issues that matter to our community to better inform ourselves when we vote in October. And this evening we are going to hear from all of these town councillor candidates. We would like to begin this evening's program by acknowledging that we are honored to gather on the unceded traditional and ancestral territory of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Kwantlen First Nation, who have been stewards of the land since time immemorial. I note that many of us are wearing orange shirts today. Excuse me. Tomorrow is National Truth and Reconciliation Day, a day to honor the children who never returned home and the warriors that did, as well as their families and communities. They are warriors because of their bravery, courage, and resilience. Special thanks to Chief Marilyn Gabriel of the Kwantlen First Nation for educating us on the importance of changing the language from survivors to warriors. Public commemoration of the tragic and painful history and ongoing impacts of residential schools is a vital component of the reconciliation process. I encourage you to wear an orange shirt tomorrow and to take the time to learn more about truth and reconciliation. Thank you to the Fort Langley Community Association and its volunteers for organizing and hosting this important event in our community. We are a community association of volunteers who meet on every second Tuesday of the month here in the community hall. We have handed out info brochures, and if you didn't get one, they're up on the welcome desk. So you can sign up on the newsletter for more details, and we would love to see you attend a meeting. The next meeting is actually October 11th at 7:30 p.m. You can attend in person here in the hall, or you can join us on Zoom. We are live streaming tonight's event, so a big shout out to All-in-One Productions for making this happen. Thank you also to Dave Quinn and Razma Jazz Entertainment for generously providing the sound for this evening. And thank you to Wendell's for supplying us with the much needed coffee for the evening. And finally, thank you to all of the candidates for taking the time to join us this evening and to share with us your thoughts and your goals in terms of serving the community. I want to talk a little bit about decorum for this evening, which is really important. We expect everyone this evening to behave in a respectful manner. This is the principal and me coming out. Please, just a little reminder to mute or turn your cell phones off now. Candidates are expected to speak in a courteous manner, are to avoid inflammatory statements and name calling, and are only permitted to speak when it is their turn. Candidates and audience members, please refrain from making any sounds or gestures that may be considered distracting while others are speaking. So failure to behave appropriately will result in a warning. And then continued infractions will result in that person being asked to leave the meeting out of respect for those that are here this evening to learn about the candidates that could be serving our community. We have a very tight time frame this evening with so many candidates. And as such, we are asking you not to applaud or make comments, asking for a respectful decorum so that we can learn as much as we can in the short time that we have with these candidates. 28 candidates for town councillor. All candidates were invited to this evening, and there are only 8 seats at the table at the end of the day. So good luck in making your selections. Here's the format for this evening's event. Each of the candidates will have 45 seconds to introduce themselves. We have a timer at the front, and at the 30-second mark, so when there's 15 seconds remaining, a yellow card will be raised so that you know that you only have 15 seconds left. And then the red card will come up and the mic will be muted at 45 seconds. The second part of our program will be a question-answer period. I'll talk a little bit more about the origin of the questions when we get there, but they will also only have 45 seconds to answer the question or to respond to the question. And finally, each candidate will have an opportunity to do a closing for 30 seconds. And then we'll have an opportunity to do a little bit of a meet and greet at the end if there's time remaining. So we are going to begin, and the way we do this is we're going to actually draw a name. That person will begin with their 45-second introduction. You don't need to look at me. Basically, as soon as you start speaking, the timer will start timing. And then we will just continue, and you'll just pass the mic to your left. And when it gets to the end of the row, you'll pass it to the person behind. Hopefully that's straightforward and smooth. All right, so let's draw the first name for introductions. And just a reminder to the audience that we're not going to applaud during this part of the program, just for time. Sukhman Gill.
Oh, hello, there we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Sukhman Gill. I'm 23 years old. I live in Langley. I live on 224th and 16th. I have a farming background. I've been farming since I was 4 years old. I've been on a tractor since then. I've grown up in Langley my whole life. I need a chance here to help the community here. There's a lot of issues we have, and I understand that there's no face, there's no young voice in our community right now. I want to be the young voice in our community. I have an agricultural background. I'm understanding the ropes, and I hope you guys can give me a chance here on October 15th. Thank you very much.
All right. So, show of hands, who's been to one of these all candidates meetings before? So have I. I've been to some of these before too. And I can tell you that probably a lot of you in the crowd already know who you're going to vote for, but you just want to hear some of the other people up here commit to helping you, commit to some policies and procedures that they're going to follow through for. So what I'm going to tell you is that I am in favor of fixing the water issue in North Langley. Probably more Metro Water is the answer. But also, I would like to encourage that we adopt a ward system. Fort Langley would deserve its own representative on council, just like every other community across the city, and that would make a huge difference. Thank you.
And I'd just like to remind the candidates to make sure you state your name at the beginning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret Kunst. I've just served my first term on council. Thank you for coming tonight and getting to know your candidates. I have a business background. I have 4 kids, 3 grandkids that love playing Hey, Where's Grandma Today with the signs. I also wanted to just express my thanks to the Fort Langley community for being engaged and letting us know what the issues are in your community. So I'm at the bottom of the ballot on October 15. Give me a vote. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy McDonald. I have a degree from the University of Western Ontario, and I studied executive education at the Sauder School of Business. I've owned a business with my husband in Langley here for 17 years now. Today, we're one of the largest commercial vehicle modifiers in Western Canada. I've built strong relationships with Canada's largest auto manufacturers, Ford, General Motors, and Mercedes-Benz, and I've negotiated financial incentives and programs with them for my own personal business. I believe I can take that experience and negotiate with the federal, provincial, and regional government to bring more programs and funding to the township of Langley as well. Everyone up here is going to talk about DCCs, but I believe there's also more creative ways to find more money from the government than just DCCs, and we need to find bigger funding for bigger projects for our infrastructure. I'm number 15, my son's jersey number in hockey, so remember Kathy McDonald. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you to Fort Langley Association for having us here tonight. My name is Barb Martins. I have been a resident of Walnut Grove since 1994, where I raised my family, and I have 29 years of public service, 9 years with the provincial government, and the last 20 working in downtown Vancouver as a police officer with the homeless community and the shelters and a lot of the housing providers in that neighborhood, I recognize the complexities of the issue and want to get involved in the resolution of that. And it's going to take a long time and a lot of work, but I've already been engaged with stakeholders with that topic. So I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about public safety. It's been my career for the last 20 years, and I look forward to serving you all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Moraes. I am Simsian, Haida, and Yupik. I've called Walnut Grove my home since I moved here from Washington State. I am the mom of 7 kids, which seems to shock a lot of people despite my degrees. I am a volunteer with the Fort Langley Arts and Jazz Fest, Langley Arts Council, Vancouver Red Jam Society. I sit as a board of directors. I've served on vice president of the PAC of Dorothy Peacock Elementary and Walnut Grove Secondary. And I think that what I want to see is a better Langley for my kids to grow up in, as we call this home. And you may have seen me as I used to work for the township in the past before. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sierra Pilcher. I'm a small business consultant here in Langley with a background in engineering, user experience design, and business technology management. I'm running for council because I'm passionate about helping this community and I want to help bring innovative solutions to the township of Langley. From a young age, I was volunteering using my platform as Miss Teen Surrey World, Miss Teen Canada World, and Miss BC finalists to bring light and attention to community issues as well as charitable causes. I also implemented multiple mentorship programs and held seminars for youth. I served as a board of directors on the Cloverdale Rodeo, so I'm experienced in listening to community feedback and working together to create solutions that benefit all sides. So I hope as your counselor, I can use my organizational and systems development knowledge to help solve some of the issues in the township.
Hello, everybody. My name's Carrie Poitras. I grew up in South Langley on a small family farm, and I've raised my 2 boys here in Langley as well. I've been involved in 4-H and art councils and stuff when I was a little younger. And for my career, I've worked in supply chain for the last 25 years, helping growers, greenhouses, and field growers get their crops to field, or crops to retail in stores using sustainable supply chains and changing them over to be more sustainable, whether it's with their packaging or how they're trucking things. I hope on October 15th you'll take the time to vote and remember Carrie Poitras. Thanks.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael Pratt and I'm a small business owner, Army Reservist, Master Student in Urban Planning, and a lifelong resident of the township. I'm running in this election for the exact same reasons that I ran in the last one. And that's because I believe that we need a council who's made up of people who are able to think independently and have a vision for what this community is going to be in the long term, not just over the next 4 years. So I have been involved in the community since I was a young boy. My sister and I, we co-founded an organization that built the only memorial of its kind in the country to the men and women who fell serving our country in Afghanistan, working with provincial partners, federal partners, all different levels of government and organizations. That's the skill set I'd like to bring to the council table. I'd like to bring our vision, and I'd like to bring new ideas, and I hope that I can earn your support on October 15th.
Hi, I'm Cameron Spondek. I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in insurance and finance for over 15 years. I also have a degree of criminology from Simon Fraser University with a specific focus on crime prevention through environmental design. I think what we need to do is practice fiscal efficiency, not fiscal responsibility, fiscal efficiency. Where is our money going and how much value are we getting for that dollar? What we're going to do is review the budget, and we're going to find a lot of wasted resources that we can then allocate to areas of greater need. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that for you guys this term. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's so great to be back here in Fort Langley for a visit. I'm Kim Richter. I'm seeking another term on Township Council because I believe that we are at a crossroads in our community. We are facing 3 crises right now that we must deal with in the next term in order to protect the health, the livability, and the safety of our community. These 3 crises are: number 1, the cost of living crisis; number 2, the climate change crisis; and number 3, a governance crisis. I have been honored to serve you as a councillor. It's been such a great privilege, and I respectfully ask for your support again. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Navin Takar. I'm a commercial appraiser for my day job, so I understand growth and I understand housing needs as well. But I'm here actually to tell you guys that I also understand that places like Fort Langley, we're fortunate to have them. They have their own character, they have their own heritage. So obviously, Langley is a community of communities. Every place doesn't need growth. Certain places need to be preserved, and we need to look out for our community, and we need to look out for the character of this community. And the only other thing I can say is that I ask for your support on October 15th, and if you guys have any questions, I'm fully accessible. You can call me at any time.
Hi, I'm Teresa Townsley. I am a farmer in South Langley, and I'm the owner of Festina Lente Estate Winery. I moved here in 2010 with my family. I'm an experienced candidate. I've been elected before in Delta as school board as well as in police board, and there is no level of government that I haven't been involved in directly or have been advocating for my community with. I am a voice of reason on the council, hopefully. I want to be your voice of financial stability, financial stewardship, and the allocation of resources that won't bankrupt our future. Farmers know how to plan for today and yet not bankrupt our future. And this is what I hope to bring to the table, is a little bit of understanding that we can't give it all away without preparing for disasters. And I hope that you vote for Townsley Township.
Hi, I'm Misty Van Popta, and I was born and raised here in Langley and have raised my 2 daughters here as well. I have my professional designation in project management, and I work in construction running projects. I have skill sets not yet seen at the council table, but are relevant more than ever. We need industry professionals who can challenge developers and staff to build better communities. We need to stop relying on others to fix our problems with poor infrastructure processes and policies. I am here for a purpose. I was not handpicked to check off a box. I was always going to run again. When I became frustrated with the items that I campaigned on 11 years ago, I knew it was time for a team approach. I look forward to your support and that of the whole Contract with Langley team on voting day.
Hi there, I'm Tony Ward. I've lived, worked, and breathed the Langley air for over half century, and I'm proud to say that I worked for the Township of Langley for about 28 years in various capacities, and those allow me to see kind of from the front line some of the needs that we have in our community. Currently, I work in asset management and have for about 12 years. So asset management is basically the intersection between fiscal prudence and sustainability. So it's our ability as an organization to realize value from our assets. And right now, that's the lens that I'm using. And along with the diversity of my skills, that's how I'm looking at how to solve some issues in township. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gerald Wartak. I'm running for council with Rich Coleman, the Elevate Langley team. I've lived in Langley since 2013 when I moved here with my wife and 2 children. Professionally, I am the owner-operator of a small business. I've done that for over 15 years. From a community perspective, for many years, I've been a coach with Langley Minor Hockey as well as Langley Minor Lacrosse. I also sit as a director on the council for Langley Minor Lacrosse. Frankly, I want to take that passion for community, combine it with my business acumen, and my ability to lead and inspire others, to work with others to come up with creative and innovative solutions, and frankly, drive this township forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Patrina Arneson. I've been an incumbent for 2 years now, first elected in 2014. It's such a pleasure to see everyone here tonight. I am running because I have a huge mandate that I want to continue in the township. Many of the things that I notice in other people's literature are things that I have already done a substantive amount of work on. Climate change, about a climate emergency, affordable housing. I've been very supportive of doing that and continue to want to do that, especially for seniors and vulnerable people in our community. I am an independent candidate, and I seek your support on October 15th. Thank you very much for coming.
I'm Tim Bailey, and I'm running because I've seen that the emergency services here are lacking, and I've got the expertise to do that. I retired after 27 years as a captain in Surrey Fire Services and still sit on the BCPFFA's Mental Health and Wellness Committee. I've also worked with the homeless and those in poverty in Surrey for over 25 years. And last, I coached over a period of 40 years, so I know what youth sports can do to form people. And my players are now 65 to 25, and I can see what the result is. So I'm here to speak on behalf of emergency services at the council table.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott Cameron, a 30-year resident of the Township of Langley. My wife and I, we currently live in Walnut Grove while we are raising our 1-year-old son. As many of you probably know, I'm the head professional at the Redwoods Golf Course, where I focus mainly on working with charity golf tournaments, helping them reach their goals through planning, charitable funds, etc. I also co-own the Fletcher Cameron Golf Academy at the Redwoods Golf Course as well. In addition to that, I am on the Township of Langley Recreation, Culture, Parks Advisory Committee, that's a mouthful, as well as the Outdoor Advisory Group, Sports Advisory Group. I hope to bring those tools to what's going to be a hot topic here with park and recreation infrastructure. Thank you.
Can I just have you pass the mic to Carlos before we carry on along here? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for... Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm here because this is the place that I fell in love with when I moved to Langley to go to school. I went to Trinity Western where I finished my Bachelor in Political Science. This is the place where I hang out with my family in Fort Langley. I decided to run because I love farming and because I care about the township. My experience has been mainly in the private sector. I have worked in hotel and tourism. I have worked in customer service, anywhere from construction, landscaping, to anything you can imagine in customer service. And I'm here because I care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming, everyone. My name is Michael Chang, and I'm running for Township of Langley Council. And because I love township, and I immigrated to Canada 2006, have dreams of a better life for myself and my family. I'm quite successful with that. And also I have 25 years of experience as a business consultant and a businessman. So I know the importance of having a thriving economy in our community. And I try to do my best to create a well-paid job for our youth and try to have. So if I get elected, I want to be my councilor to be transparent, effective, respectable, and trustworthy. I will try to earn my trust from you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our thoughts and ideas with you and engaging with us as councillor candidates. I'm AJ Chima. I'm a resident of Salmon River, where I'm a blueberry farmer, but I'm also building a winery and bistro across from Krauseberry Farms. So I've been living in Langley for 7 years. I'm a youth soccer coach, hockey coach, a concerned citizen, and a parent, and that's why I've been running. I see Langley as the second fastest growing city, and I do not see the infrastructure and amenities keeping up with the rate of growth here. And so if given the opportunity on October 15th, I'd like to be a voice for all of you, and the contractor Langley team will be there with the right plan and the commitment to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody for coming out tonight. My name's Rebecca Darnell. I'm a lawyer. I am running for Township Council because I believe we deserve in this township transparency and accountability. Your councillors need to focus firstly on the critical issues, such as public safety, fire, police, infrastructure to catch up with development, and fiscal responsibility. I chose Langley 27 years ago. I established my firm, Darnell Law Group. I want the best for Langley. I hope to continue to contribute and leave a community that our children and grandchildren will be proud of. I ask for your vote October 15, and I promise to deliver honesty, integrity, and transparency.
Emot subsquagan. I said in Ijutham, I feel good. And I do feel good today. My name is James Delorme. I'm a member of Klahoose First Nation. I'm a visitor here in the territories of the Kwantlen First Nations. I want to thank this association for recognizing the Orange Shirt Day, the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Very important to me, on behalf of my family, that you are all doing this. I'm here as a new person that's going to change. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you can vote for me October 15th.
It's twice I've had to follow James. My name's Stephen Denison. I'm running with Rich Coleman and the Elevate Langley team. I'm running because I want to bring my experience as an entrepreneur to the Township of Langley. Over 30 years, I've been an entrepreneur in this community, and it takes innovation to make a business grow. It takes innovation to create a sustainable city. It takes a team to get things done. And so my standard is raise the bar without raising taxes. That's what the Elevate Langley team is going to do for each of you. Thanks for being here and listening to us as we share our thoughts.
Hello, Fort Langley. My name is Steve Ferguson, and I've served 8 terms worked with 5 mayors. I'm holding up the last meetings of our budget and our committee. This is hours and hours of work. Those people that want to run for council better put together about 50 hours per week. I also on 3 regional district committees: sewer, water, drainage, Indigenous relations, and a national treaty table. Councillor Richter knows how big these agendas are. I'm here as your servant, as your steward, and I'm working with the contract with Langley team under the leadership of Councillor Eric Woodward. Thank you very much. Vote the contract.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here, especially with these incredible group of well-rounded candidates. And I think every one of you up here deserves a vote for different reasons. And I look forward to seeing what kind of group we have together after this. My name is Britt Gardner, and I was born and raised in the township. I'm 3rd-generation Township of Langley resident. I graduated from Aldergrove Secondary, grew up in Glen Valley, and now I am back in Fort Langley raising my 3 kids here. I am running because I think we need voices on council who understand that the future needs to be sustainable. I am running for climate action. I am running to protect the environment, and I am running for affordable housing so that everybody can find a home here. I hope that you consider me on your ballot, as well as these wonderful people. Thank you.
We are now moving on to the next portion of the program, which is the question and answer period. So just to remind you that about the origin of the questions. So some of the questions came in online to our website beforehand, and others were actually provided to us this evening, and we've gone through them. We're going to be picking randomly the questions, but we're also going to be starting each question each round with one person that we're going to draw from the box. So we are going to start with James Delorme. So if we can pass the mic to James, please. Again, I'll remind you that just in the essence of time, we're not going to be applauding. I am going to read the question out twice so that the candidates have time to think about it and also to process it. So the question is, we have seen several proposals put forward for the Bedford House and the Waterfront Park. Would you support a community conversation to develop a collaborative vision for the waterfront properties? I'm going to read it one more time. We have seen several proposals put forward for the Bedford House and the Waterfront Park. Would you support a community conversation to develop a collaborative vision for the waterfront properties? You have 45 seconds.
Thank you so much. Such an important question. And the reason why it's so important is because it leads into what we need to do, and that's work together. The unity piece, folks. We need to bring everybody in to make these important decisions. Very specifically, we need to get the Kwantlen community involved in this greater development plan. And if we can come together, talk to developers, talk to community members, and raise that question, keep that discussion going, we will find a path forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder to everyone to please state your name at the beginning. So we're going to move the mic along, and we're going to do 4 candidates with 1 question. So you can just pass the mic to your left, please.
All right. So I'm Stephen Dienison, and I just have to agree with James. Yes, we need a conversation, but we do need to move towards some certainty rather than leaving it up in the air for years. So team approach will help. But let's listen. I agree with involving the Kwantlen First Peoples. That's very important. It's a beautiful piece of land. Fort Langley's beautiful. Whatever we do has to maintain the culture and character of this great town. And let's get the trucks off of Glover. I know that's a big part of it, because if we're going to go and build a new development or anything we do there, it's going to draw people to the area. So it's going to be important to also bypass trucks out of this area.
There's no other way of doing it. Steve Ferguson, we have to get it right. If somebody comes with a project that doesn't make sense, we're not going to support it. And we also are working, as others have said, with the Kwantlen First Nations on the new museum. I don't know how many people have come. It's coming along really well. It should be finished, I guess, February. So yes, consultation. If we have to do 1 or 2 or 3 nights, whatever it takes to get it right.
Yes, absolutely. To echo what a few of my fellow candidates have said, we should be partnering with the Kwantlen on this project. And it's really important to understand that once we sell public land to a developer, we will never get it back. And I think that has the potential to be a crown jewel of our community. We should not be selling it off to a private developer. I would be very much against that, and I was very upset to hear that that is essentially the direction that we are headed in.
Okay, and we're going to go on to a new question, but the mic will remain where it is. So the new question is, what solutions do you offer to improve public transit in the next 4-year term? Again, the question is, what solutions do you offer to improve public transit in the next 4-year term?
Hi everyone, my name is Sokman Gill again. So for public transit, we do see, first of all, on 208th between 72nd and 80th, it is so clustered there right now. There's no traffic moving within. We are coming up with transit ideas. We have a whole plan. My team, we've thought about a whole thorough-out plan that we bring to the table. And with this plan, we will be able to move traffic, have traffic flowing throughout Langley into the city. And we need to get into council to permit these ideas. So with your support, we can help all our community with the transit. Thank you very much.
So my name is Alex Joel, in case I didn't say it the first time around. I'm disappointed to get this question because maybe some people aren't going to like the answer. I was against the SkyTrain. I was against LRT. They are white elephants that will never pay for themselves and will be underutilized by our community. I am for more bus service. So whether that looks like having electric buses or more diesel, gasoline buses, I don't care. But those are the way that we can get into our communities. I mean, everybody knows the libertarian hates roads, right? Like, that's the old-fashioned joke. But what I want to do is I just want to see that there's something in the operating budget that's going to be consistently upgrading our roads and our sidewalks, and that there is a plan for the future. But no, we definitely don't need more white elephant projects. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Margaret Kunst. With SkyTrain coming to Langley, this is a great opportunity to advocate to our upper levels of government for more funding. We need to improve our transit corridors, we need rapid buses, and we need to address what they call the last mile and the first mile, which means it's that when I leave my house and I got to get to the SkyTrain, what is that going to look like? Because we don't want people to use our cars. So we need to actually make sure that our transit is good for everybody in all areas of the township. So they're not jumping in their cars, driving down to the SkyTrain, trying to find a parking spot. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy McDonald. As I promised earlier, I would advocate for more funding from the government. I believe Metro Vancouver is shortchanging Langley now on their budget for transit. I believe Delta and Burnaby are getting way more allocation of funds for that. The second thing I would try to do is get a better relationship between transit and the township. There's a bus stop across Amari Mountain between 72nd and 80th on 200. Every day I see teenagers run across 6 lanes of highway because there's no bus stop at 72nd or 80th. I've called the township, I've called TransLink, no one has an answer for me, so I think the council needs to have a better relationship with TransLink on the safety of where our bus stops are located. Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving to a new question. The question is, what does sustainable development mean to you, economically, environmentally, and culturally? I'm going to read it one more time. What does sustainable development mean to you, economically, environmentally, and culturally?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. My name is Barb Martins. I'm with the Contract with Langley team. Sustainable development, that requires buildings that are multi-use. It requires a planned approach to new developments, new communities, not repeating the mistakes of Willoughby and the mess that we have. It means proper infrastructure in place and services for the people to live within with walkable communities. Thank you.
Karen Morris. I feel that if we can get the kind of buildings in here that support families. I have kids that go to different schools in Walnut Grove, and transit, they have the small community buses that come through, and they're always getting bumped by at least 1 or 2 buses trying to get to their school in the morning. There are just little things here and there that structurally don't work. I'll be honest, we avoid going down 208th for any reason, just because the traffic's always backed up there. I would like to see housing that is not only for families but is affordable, because right now there's so many people that can't afford Vancouver. They're moving out here, and we're starting to reach Vancouver prices. Thank you.
Hi, Sierra with Elevate Langley. So sustainable to me means smart development. We need to make sure that we are planning for the future. We need to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place for these people so that they have walkable communities. They don't need to jump into their cars and increase carbon emissions. We also need to work on housing affordability. We need to give more options to people, whether that's rental properties or incorporating rental into already owned properties through lock-off suites for in-laws or rental for that, or even coach homes to help people not only qualify for their mortgage but also make their mortgage payments. So smart development is definitely the way to go for that. Thank you.
For me, sustainability is going to be looking at how we plan our communities, getting away from planning around the car, looking at incorporating trees and keeping the trees that are there before we start to develop, and then if they have to be removed, planning ahead so that we can have trees mature in place without causing problems to the infrastructure that's there. It's also about how we're building. So going in through the next 10 years with climate change happening, longer and longer heat waves, we're going to have to plan with being able to have air conditioning and that type of thing in mind as well. And looking when we know that 30% saturation for electric cars, we need to be paying attention to that as well, because we're going to have more demand on electricity and resources as well. So keeping that in mind as we build.
And we're going to move on to the next question. So currently, Fort Langley and East Walnut Grove receives water from well number 2, which is very corrosive to our plumbing fixtures. Given that all taxpayers pay the same water rates, what do you propose, if anything, should be done? Should we be on GVWD, Greater Vancouver Water District, 100%? I'm going to read that one more time. Currently, Fort Langley and East Walnut Grove receives water from well number 2, which is very corrosive to plumbing fixtures. Given that all taxpayers pay the same water rates, what do you propose, if anything, should be done? Should we be on GVWD 100%?
It's a great question, and I've been very clear from the very start of the campaign that the answer to this issue is to cap well 2 and go to full GVRD water for North Langley. The reality is that when you consider the cost across the township, the cost to the individual homeowners that are potentially in the thousands of dollars, potentially catastrophic damage to their homes, it is simply unconscionable that we allow that to happen. And so we need to move to GVRD water. We need to do that as soon as possible. I've put forward the notice of motion already online about what I would do on day 1 so that we could move to GVRD water. And I know that every time I talk to people at the door, their biggest question is, why hasn't this been raised at the council table before? So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that day 1, it's an issue, it's a priority, and we're going to get it done in the first term that we have as a new council.
Cameron Spondek, I think Michael did a great job of covering that answer. I agree with him. I'm not sure if there was an assessment already done on what it would take to potentially remediate the well, and if that is too cost prohibitive or it just can't be done, I vote also that we should move to full GVRD. It's not fair that you're paying the same rates but getting a different type of service. Thank you.
Kim Richter, and that has been dealt with at council. In fact, we just dealt with it this last term in Murrayville for basically the same reasons. We blend our water in the township in order to save the taxpayers money. This has gone on historically for years. It made sense when Langley was a very small community. I'm thinking now that Langley is growing at the extent that it's growing, it's not making sense anymore. And clearly, the water that's in our aquifers does not mix well with GVRD water. That's what happened in Murrayville. That's what's happening here in Fort Langley. So my answer is yes, take Fort Langley and Walnut Grove off the aquifer water and put them on GVRD until or unless we can get a solution. Thank you.
So yeah, Steve, I might need to borrow your budget that you brought with you because I don't know why this isn't in there already. This is definitely an issue that should be dealt with immediately. And another thing is that with all the promises that are being made, like this should have been a first thing that was dealt with. So yeah, so I definitely think that it should be go on to GVRD. Also, there's other fittings that might have to be looked at. Any upgrades that we have to make to the pipes and fittings, we should do that, and we should make sure that the water is drinkable and safe, and there's no issues, because this is like our health, and this is the most important thing. Before we go to luxury stuff, this is our basic need, so we need to make sure this is taken care of.
Thank you, and we're moving on to the next question. How high would you say is reasonable for high-rise buildings in the township, and why? I'm going to read it again. How high would you say is reasonable for high-rise buildings in the township, and why?
Teresa Townsley. That is a question that depends on the zoning of the area, plus a couple of other factors, and one of them being our ability to support our fire service. If you were to ask me if a 4-level wood building is too high, yes, I would say it is, because to me it's a fire hazard. If you were to ask me if a well-supported 20-story building on 200th is too high, not necessarily if it's within zoning and it's appropriate for the community and there's a shoulder community that goes up to that zoning. I'm very concerned about the 4 to 6 story wooden structures, and I believe that it has to be part of our neighborhood plan and have the inclusion of the community as it does that.
Misty Van Popta. Do we need to be 45 stories and be the 3rd tallest building in the Lower Mainland? No, I don't think so, but we definitely need to build up in order to maximize our density. Just to clarify, 6-story wood frames, the sprinkler codes are more than sufficient. Now we also mandate that decks are also sprinklered, so there's no safety issues with wood frame. It's actually more economical. But yeah, no, we definitely need to maximize on our density, and that is by building towers, but only on your corridors where infrastructure exists in theory, and transit is available.
Okay, thank you very much. It's Tony Ward. So the exact number of floors is 17.25. I'm kidding. We have to fit the charm and what the community looks like, as well as the safety features here. If we don't have the fire department. We don't have adequate fire service to support a 45 floor building, then that's not going to cut it, I don't think. I think we got to build incrementally when we develop, and we don't have to rush. We have to not be hasty, because when it comes to safety, we have to consider that. But we got to remember like I said, the character and charm, fire service, and I'm trying to remember what else so Willoughby, we are at 6 floors. I think that's consistent with Willoughby for now, and I think that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, I'm coming in fourth, and everybody pretty well said what needed to be said here, so I'm going to echo some of it. Character is an important one. We have 6 distinct communities here in the township of Langley, and we have to recognize the character of each one of those communities, and the zoning speaks to that, and that speaks then to zoning as well as infrastructure, which includes fire and safety. So all that's been covered. The only thing I will mention is, and Misty mentioned this, we do have the 200 Street corridor. That's been zoned and is allowable for high-rise development. We have the 2 high-rises coming, one 34-story, one 26-story. I think we have to watch how that gets done. That, is an urban density model. Once we see how that's done, I think that can inform how we blend that out to the rest of the township of Langley.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Do you support removing the truck traffic route out of Fort Langley? How would you do that? In your mind, what is the most cost-effective way to do this? I will repeat the question. Do you support removing the truck traffic route out of Fort Langley? How would you do that? And in your mind, what is the most cost-effective way to do this?
Councillor Patrina Arneson. I've given this a lot of thought, actually, and like, soon-to-be Councillor Pratt, I'm assuming, I have a motion myself that I've been working on, and it actually calls for public engagement to talk about the truck route. It's actually been vetted by staff but not brought forward in the last term. I think it's really important to get all the stakeholders together, including TransLink. We're talking about a truck route, and it's complicated, but I really think that we need to have the community come together and to look at this as an opportunity to advance what needs to be done. I think there are many methods in order to generate the funding for that. There's levies that could be had. There's also opportunities to work with other levels of government, but we have to have the availability of lands, et cetera, in order to do that where we'd like to. Thank you.
Tim Bailey. Yeah, I support that proposed truck route, and because I've successfully lobbied 4 levels of government and done it for a long time on behalf of the firefighters, I know how to talk to the different levels. In fact, I worked in Victoria for 2 ministers. So I'm very familiar on how to talk to senior levels of government, get support from them, get the money, and get it done. And you always have to remember, truckers are very effective communicators. So if you're not going to enforce that truck route once you get going, they're going to be on the radio, and they're going to be telling everyone to use that, just like they do down on 216th there, and it's a big problem for them. So not only do you have to do it economically, you also have to enforce that they're not going to continue on the same route.
Hi there, Scott Cameron with Elevate Langley. Obviously, I'd be supportive of this as well, and through kind of team discussion there, an idea that I believe has been presented before would be actually creating a bypass at the Rawlings and Crescent there, down by River Road. From my understanding, this would be a reasonable solution price-wise, and this is something that could be done in a couple of years.
And can we pass that down? Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. When it comes to stopping the traffic of trucks around Fort Langley, I came to think about one particular issue, and it's the fact that Fort Langley doesn't have any other access. However, how would I address this issue? By basically getting on with the RCMP and working with traffic control. We can close Fort Langley and get, if there is a construction or anything happen, we can get for a day a truck here. However, we can get every other truck, take the bypass or the exit going up the highway right before the Fort Langley Road. That's the only.
Your time is up. Thank you. The next question is what is your position on putting an overdose prevention site center in the township? I'll repeat that. What is your position on putting an overdose prevention site center in the township?
Okay, my name is Michael Chen, and I think it is a good idea to put the overdose research center in our community because we are looking at the. I'm working with a nonprofit organization dealing with supporting homeless people and some of the vulnerable people. They have so many issues, but mental health and the drug overdose is one of the main issue, and it's not about putting this different way of the support, but getting into the real issue and trying to find a way. And I'm okay with having those research center in our community.
Hi, AJ Chima. So definitely concerned, and I'm for anything when it comes to the issues that we're facing with overdose, drugs, homelessness. Obviously, we're as a community, it's very concerning. What's more concerning is that we haven't been able to talk to our other governmental counterparts, such as the provincial government, to lobby them and say, look, you know what? Instead of buying a hotel and just putting a roof over people's heads, why are we not having mental health facilities for these folks and support programs? And having worked for the federal government for 2 ministers, much like Tim has done, I bring that intergovernmental experience that will allow us to lobby for those sorts of programs that are necessary for these people that are facing drug addictions and mental health issues.
Thank you very much. That's an amazing question, and it's very relevant today. I left my office this afternoon, and I looked at a photograph of a young man, 20 years of age, and I recently attended his service. His mother was my client, and it just absolutely devastated me. I spent 8 years working at the courthouse at 222 Main Street. I was in the belly of the beast. We need to treat these people with empathy, and the Foundry is a great place to start. We need mental health facilities. We need to work with the province. We need to work with the feds. Let's get this done, and let's start treating these people like human beings that they are and stop demonizing them.
Thank you. We're going to begin our second round, and we're actually going to draw a name for the first person who will start that round. And we have drawn Misty. So if we can move the mic back up there. Thank you. We'll give her a second to get her breath. The question is, what more could the township do to move the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission forward? I will read that again. What more could the township do to move the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission forward?
Wow, this is a challenging one. I would hope that we are moving forward with the recommendations, and if we're not, then that's more of a bigger question. We should obviously be getting all stakeholders involved and sitting down together and going through and finding out why we are not moving forward. It starts with people being committed to it, and I am, and I know the Contract with Langley team is, and so it just needs to get done.
That's a surprise question and a very relevant question, obviously, today and for tomorrow. To touch on what Misty said there, obviously we want to get all stakeholders involved. And I mean, that includes obviously other jurisdictions, RCMP, the school district, et cetera. And we all kind of want to act and work in one voice. And obviously when it comes to reconciliation, the big part of it's truth. But we have to work together. Part of it's education. And as we learn more about residential schools, and that's part of the discussion that you're going to hear tomorrow, and hopefully you have a chance to attend an event, that's part of that component. And as all of us kind of contribute to listening and learning and being quiet, I think we will all kind of grow in that. And thank you.
Thank you, Gerald Wartak. I think that conversation starts with humility. I think we have to realize that we need to listen before we come up with the solutions. Much like my counterparts said, that means bringing the right people in and having those stakeholders educate us. And we need to have that breadth of empathy when listening. The last two variables, once we're educated, I think we have to move forward with the right support to educate our community. As a council, you know, it's one thing for us to listen, but we need to create the variables that then we can broadcast that to our constituents. And the last one is support. We are the anchors of this community, and we need to support those people that are affected by this. Thank you.
Patrina Arneson, I'm pleased to say that the Township of Langley, I believe, has taken some great strides most recently in making sure that we have a very strong nation-to-nation relationship with the Kwantlen in particular, but also the Katzie and the Matsqui in our community. I feel that we do a good job, but there's much more that we could do. I think most people would likely be committed to name changing, signage, things that we can show that particularize that this is a territory that we are humbled and able to live in. So I take this as an opportunity, as others have said, to continue to learn, to progress, and to understand more how we can be better partners in this process. Thank you.
So the next question, and I will read this twice. Commercial parking is a concern for residents and businesses in Fort Langley. With large areas still to be developed in the village center, what kind of parking strategies do you envision? I'll read that again. Commercial parking is a concern for residents and businesses in Fort Langley. With large areas still to be developed in the village center, what kind of parking strategies do you envision?
So this begins first, Tim Bailey. This first begins with comprehensive planning and making sure that when you're building a development that you're either putting it underneath so you can maximize your space, or you can plan for alternative things like increase your bus routes going in through here, increase all kinds of walkability things, and you've got to make sure that parking does not become just a big black sun suck and heating things up. So you've got it. The key is planning. Put it underneath if you possibly can, and if not, increase the transit.
Scott Cameron with Elevate Langley. Tim couldn't have said it any better. I'd hate to see a huge parking lot here in Fort Langley. So with future development and community plans, we would need to make sure that those parking structures are in, or like Tim said, underneath those buildings. Increasing transportation is also going to help, but in regards to parking, we need to make sure those developers are putting them inside or underneath the buildings there.
Thank you once again. For this question, I was thinking precisely about getting the township to invest in a lot. Why? Because we need public parking and we need cheap parking. As a conservative mind, I do support the privatization of different properties. However, we don't want parking that is private. We want a parking that is accessible and that is afforded by the township. And I'm sure that the township can afford a couple of lots that can be used by the people of Fort Langley. Thank you.
Okay, Fort Langley is a really popular places, especially during the summertime, the weekends. So we don't have, not even close enough the parking space. So my idea was during the weekend, we can kind of a car-free area for the certain area for the tourists and try to build more parking around the area, kind of walkover area. Also, when we have a new plan or there was some piece of land we can use the parking lot. And if there was a really maximize the space we as the tourism, we might have a think about the parkade in the future, and the part of the parking become the building and the inside of the building. So that's kind of my idea for the parking.
Thank you. We are now moving on to the next question. What is your position on agricultural lands in the ALR, and how do you see the future of agriculture in Langley? What is your position on agricultural lands in the ALR, and how do you see the future of agriculture in Langley?
I love this question because I'm a farmer. Agricultural land, super important. It's a cornerstone for our family. We've been farming history since Saskatchewan and the wheat board. But as far as the township is concerned, we definitely have to protect our agricultural land. We have to promote agri-tourism. We have to make sure that our farmers markets and our produce and our local community farmers are getting their product to market. We're not going to save on foods and buying products from the U.S. and other places. We need to do more to promote local. We also need to do more as far as utilizing our ALR land. So having farmers being allowed to have a secondary building to promote their product and have farmers markets and things of those nature. So ALR land, don't touch it, leave it alone, and promote us farmers more. Thank you.
I'm with AJ. I have to say, in addition to that, we're not making any more land. We are, unfortunately or fortunately, making more people. So the more people we have, the more land we need. We have to keep our ALR. We have to preserve it. The agri-industry or the tourism is critical and vital to our survival as the human race. And we can't just, it's not replaceable. So what we need to do is that, and also the secondary residences, my God, I recently learned they're limited to 900 square feet. Let's change that right away, and let's start to give our farmers what they need. Thank you.
James DeLorme. And absolutely, the ALR is really important. The current and existing farm structures, the farm community is absolutely essential to all of our lives. The synergy that we bring together as a community has to rely on those folks, and we need to push behind them, support them in ways, innovative market ideas, innovative ways to build out the ALR. But be conscious of what this is and who we are in those lands. Thank you.
All right, I'm Stephen Denis from the Elevate Langley team. I actually live on a farm. I have 5 acres in Milner, and I grow hay. And actually this year we got twice the yield. So I was really pleased with that. And that's good because we actually need food sources for our livestock and for us to eat close to home. So I'm a proponent of leaving the ALR as it is. If we need to make trade-offs to build a bypass through Rollison Crescent, then we'll do that, but it's got to be a one-for-one trade-off. So we need to preserve the ALR. We need to have creative ways to get food to market, to develop the farm businesses that we have. Ecotourism is fantastic, so let's do more of that. And we can because we have the land and the people to work with it.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. How do you envision development in the Brookswood area? How do you envision development in the Brookswood area?
Steve Ferguson, I'm running with the contract with Langley, with Eric Woodward for mayor. We have a plan for Brookswood. Brookswood has been in the works for too many years. There's been too many plans. It's about time we sat down and talked to the Brookswood people and came up with a plan that's viable, sustainable, and something we can go forward in the future with. There's no other way of doing it. We can't sit on our hands again for another 4 years and get 8 different opinions on something. We need 5 votes to go forward to put the Brookswood-Fernridge plan in place. I live in Brookswood-Fernridge. I've lived all this. Now's the time to move on it. Thank you.
Britt Gardner. So in the Township of Langley, we have recently adopted a forest management strategy, and the target for that is to increase it over 30%. And Brookswood right now has the highest tree canopy percentage in the Township of Langley, and it is at about 30%. So which trees can we afford to lose from Brookswood, first of all? And tree canopy takes a long time to replace. Once upon a time, we did log the entire Metro Vancouver, and this is all regrowth. But that takes 100 years. So I think we have to be very careful with how we do this, a proper plan, proper public engagement, and protecting our tree canopy, protecting our environment, and building affordable housing where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sockman Gill. I have to agree with Britt. I think she's right. The tree canopy in Brookswood, it is beautiful right now. There is a beautiful neighborhood across George Preston Arena. It was beautiful community built. The trees there are preserved in the backyards. You can see them. They stand out. These are plants we need to breathe. They're our lungs. So I agree that we need to preserve our tree canopy, and also development that's coming. It has to be affordable, it has to be sustainable, it has to be good for our environment, and we can't just, each community has a different type of plan. So Brookswood, we have to bring a plan that preserves our tree canopy there and still promotes affordable housing. Thank you very much.
So if we get Brookswood wrong, what are we going to get wrong next, right? Like, so this is the next opportunity that the Township of Langley has to get a community right. The first and foremost is we need to be planning appropriately. We have to have the right input information, whether that be for how many families are going to be moving to the area, so we can plan appropriately for schools. We need to have the right amount of parks. And the road structure has to be better than what we did in Willoughby, where we have just a few arterial roads, and that's how you get your choke points. So definitely there has to be a lot of planning around that. But when it comes down to it, what does the market want? Like, am I going to be the bad guy in the room that says if people want to develop the area and create more housing so that more people can move to the Township of Langley, that's more taxpayer money, and that is more resources for the Township of Langley.
It is. Sorry. New question. Surrey is changing over to a municipal police force. Do you feel the township should look at a municipal police force? Why or why not? I will repeat the question. Surrey is changing over to a municipal police force. Do you feel the township should look at a municipal police force? Why or why not?
I think we're well served here in the Township of Langley with our RCMP. I've been watching what's happening in Surrey. They're a big municipality. They have their reasons for wanting to switch over to a force like that, but it's going to cost them a lot of money. You know what? The RCMP here in Langley, they are very responsive. They come to council. They give us updates continuously, sometimes in closed meetings, sometimes in open meetings. They're on the ground. They need our support. They need, more staff for sure. But I don't think we're ready to go to a police force. And not only that, your taxes would go sky high. So no, my answer is no.
Hi, I'm Kathy McDonald. I have to agree with Margaret. I don't think we need to move to that. I think the RCMP are doing a good job. Part of our platform with Elevate Langley is to increase safety, so I don't think we need to switch. I think we just to add more RCMP officers to Langley, find the hot spots that need the most RCMP officers, have some more presence. I believe one thing that Surrey is doing well is they have a program called Car 64, where they have a mental health counselor, a company police officer, because half the 911 calls they're responding to are not crime related, they're mental health related. So we need to have some mental health officers help the RCMP officers with those type of calls and leave the RCMP for the crime and the actual 911 phone calls. Thank you.
Hi there, Barb Martins with Contract with Langley. Did I mention I've been a police officer for 20 years? Thank you for this question. So the quick answer is I do not think we need to consider a transition right now to municipal policing. I think the RCMP is doing a fine job. The issue is that they are under-resourced. We've got probably 25 positions right now that are not filled that your tax money is paying for. We need to help with the recruitment of officers to our area. Part of it is specialized programs like Car 67 cannot exist without the basic resources in place. So that's what we need to do, and that's what we need to focus on. So thank you.
Karen Moraes. I don't think we need to switch over to the municipality. I moved from Surrey, Cloverdale, and there's the RCMP, they're already working, well, I can't curse, working their butts off in trying to answer calls. That it takes a long time for them to actually get to the places where the calls are needed. We see RCMP sitting on the side of the roads in Surrey just trying to fill out the paperwork. A lot of them are just doing the paperwork for the calls that they've answered. I think that if we stick with the RCMP here and just add more detachments and more staff, it would definitely help our case. Once we get more staff, which we will need because of the growth that is happening right now in Walnut Grove, I think we could build a safer community. Thank you.
How do you envision the Township of Langley mitigating climate change? Things like dike maintenance, water conservation, and possible heat domes as some examples. So the question is, how do you envision the Township of Langley mitigating climate change?
Thank you. Sierra Pilcher with Elevate Langley. That's a really important question, as I'm sure everyone's seen the effects that climate change is having on everyone. So there's a number of ways we can do this. One is working with our developers to make sure that the new buildings and new developments have a green technology in them to help decrease emissions. The other is focusing on these walkable, smart communities where you don't need to rely on a car to get you to your doctor's appointment or your barber shop. You can just walk there, thus decreasing emissions, and just really working together to make sure we're all doing our part and keeping our emissions down.
What I envision is first changing our building codes and making sure that we're using the smartest, sustainable that we can. I'm not so familiar with the steps, but I know that there's a lot that are pushing for step 4, and we're not there yet. I think that we have to build with trees in mind. We have to preserve the canopy. Most municipalities are going for between 20 and 40%, and we definitely need to take that seriously. We can't replace them as fast as people would like to think. As Britt mentioned, it's 100 years to get that growth back. And food resiliency is the next part of that, so taking care of our agricultural land, protecting it for the future. Thank you.
So the reality with the local level of government is that there's only so many powers that we have in order to actually mitigate and prevent climate change. The reality is that we can do 3 tangible things as a local government to actually mitigate and deal with the effects. The first is to make sure that we're ending the practice, or at least reducing the practice of when development comes, we're trading off these setbacks from these water courses. These water courses and creeks that we have in the township are incredibly important in mitigating the effects of climate change. The second thing we can do is make sure that we actually have a strategy and a plan in place for people to plant more trees, to retain their canopy, and make sure that our canopy is growing, not shrinking. And the third thing is to make sure that we're actually investing in the modes of transportation that are going to make people able to get around sustainably, not have to depend on their cars, and actually have the kind of quality of life that we want.
This is a perfect question for me. I work in risk mitigation, and we all saw what happened in Abbotsford not too long ago in the surrounding areas. And the cost of not doing anything is going to be much greater when another event happens, and that's an inevitability. It's not something that we can just think as a black swan event. It will happen again. And we need to put resources in place, not only now, but for the future, because the mitigation is going to be much cheaper than it is to go through the event and pay all the claims and do all the things that we need to do, remediate the areas, rebuild. So the costs are tremendous if we don't do anything right now. Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving on to our next question. How do you see the role community associations play in the decision-making process that the township utilizes? How would you support community associations throughout the township? I'll repeat that. How do you see the role community associations play in the decision-making process that the township utilizes, and how would you support community associations throughout the township?
Kim Richter, I actually think that the Fort Langley Community Association does an exceptional job of informing council on what the needs are in this community. Not only do they have regular meetings that they invite us to, but they bring reports forward to council. They send us their newsletter. And I wish every community had a community association like Fort Langley does. In the past, there was the start of that beginning to occur in different areas, and council did put money towards helping them get started up and get going and keep going. I think we need to continue to do this, and I would definitely like to send more of them to Fort Langley's direction so they have a model to work with. Thank you.
So yeah, with community associations, Langley is
the volunteer capital of Canada. So we basically have like people that are putting in their taking time out of their busy schedules to make time for their communities, times to make the Langley better for their families. So I think it's essential. I think we have to, obviously we gotta give them any support that they need. But aside from the support, we also have to provide them with time, and we have to sit down with them, see what their needs are, see what issues they're having, and actually provide genuine support for their issues.
Teresa Townsley. One of the things about community associations is it gives us an opportunity for incredible and detailed and informed public engagement. And as a councillor, I'd like to leverage that in order to get proper policy being done right from the ground up so that we're not making mistakes when we come out to the community. I'd like to see community associations be invited to roundtables at the inception of difficulties that we're having within the community so that we can get the opinion right from the ground up and get the people on the ground and make it a political priority for getting our engagement and getting the information right.
Thank you, candidates. We are going to be moving on to the next portion of the program. We've been watching the time. We're going to change things up a little bit for your closing. We had originally said that you would have only 30 seconds. We're going to increase it to 45 seconds rather than going on to a third question. So while I'm talking, you can be thinking. I just want to let the audience know that all of the questions that were provided to the candidates will be given to the candidates after this evening, and they'll have an opportunity, if they like, to answer those in writing, and we will post them on the Community Association website for you to see. So those questions everyone will get the opportunity to answer every one of the questions that we have used this evening. We also did not have time to get to all of the questions this evening, obviously, but thank you so much if you did submit a question, and we were drawing them randomly. So they are going to have 45 seconds for a closing comment this evening. Just a reminder to keep that mic up close, and also to state your name at the beginning. With so many candidates, it's really helpful to have the name stated at the beginning. And we're going to allow short applause because these people are working very, very hard, and I think it's time that they feel a little love back. So short applause so that we can make sure that the timing is appropriate. Thank you. So we're going to draw the name for the first person who's going to make their closing comments. AJ Chima.
Okay. AJ Chima, contract with Langley team, running with Eric Woodward. First of all, again, thank you everyone for contributing questions and engaging with us, and knocking doors and engaging with the community. It's very important for us to hear your concerns and thoughts, because ultimately that's what we're there for. We're there to represent you, make informed decisions. October 15th, given the opportunity, I would be humbled to serve you, and we would stick with our contract, and that's why it's a contract to Langley, and we have a great team to get things done. So please consider us, and consider us all, and looking forward to seeing you at your doorsteps over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
As long as I don't have to go to your office. My name is Rebecca Darnell. I just wanted to thank all of you, and I too would be honored to serve as a councillor for this great township and for each and every one of you as citizens of Langley. I have over 40 cumulative years of experience and professional training in governance. I've been on boards of directors for the hospital, for the Canadian Museum of Flight, for the Motor Vehicle Sales Authority of British Columbia, and several others, Langley Community Services Society when our building burnt down. I've done a lot for this community. This community has served me well, and I'm ready to give back yet again. And October 15, vote Darnell. Thank you.
James Delorme with Elevate Langley, and running with this wonderful team of Elevate Langley group you see up here, and also Rich Coleman running for mayor. Fully support Rich. I was chief of Clahoose for 6 years. That's where I cut my teeth on leadership. And that's where I'll serve with that same mentality, the same drive that I was given by my elders in my community. That's what I do. I'm guided by this principle, and I'm glad to serve the community. Oh.
I'm Stephen Dienison with the Elevate Langley team. I have 4 kids, and the oldest is 20, the youngest is 12. I want them all to be able to live in Langley. I think this is the best town in BC, and I've been to a lot of the province. I've been all over the continent in my business career, and Langley has to preserve its special character. It's got to innovate to be sustainable and affordable for the long term. It's going to take a team to get that done. So October 15th, the Elevate Langley team, make that your choice.
Hi, I'm Steve Ferguson. I'm running with Eric Woodward, contract with Langley team. You know, I did want to say, I want to wish everybody here on this stage well, because you put your name up for public service, and if you get elected, clear your calendar, because you're not going to have much time left. It's a busy job. It's a worthwhile job being a steward for the community, serving and helping the community, and always being available. And I think that's the best you could possibly do. So I wish everybody well. Thank you to your association, and I've had fun tonight. Thank you.
Britt Gardner, thank you so much for having me tonight, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve you on council and be a voice for Langley's sustainable future. And I have an ask tonight as well, and it is, voting is a social activity, democracy is a social activity. If you have 1, 2, 5 people that you go home and talk to and ask them what their plan is to vote and follow up on it and make sure they vote, that does a lot for the community. I am an independent candidate, and I look forward to hopefully earning your vote on October 15th. Thank you.
Sockman Gill with the Team Elevate Langley. I'm just up here again asking for your vote, guys. I am a young candidate, 23 years old. Some of you could look at me as a son. Some of you could look at me as a grandson. The youngest candidate right now, I took that away from Mr. Pratt. He used to be the youngest candidate. I'm here, so we see problems in the community. There needs to be solutions, and there's nothing being done about it. I want to come here, put myself forward, and do something about this. We have a platform. Our brochures are in the back with all our business cards. My team and I will be in Fort Langley tomorrow door knocking, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow at your doorstep. Any questions you guys have that time, or tonight, I will be here as well. I'm happy to answer. We're trying to make Fort Langley a better place, Langley as a whole a better place, and we are looking for your vote on October 15th. Please vote Sockman Gill and Team Elevate Langley. Thank you very much.
So yes, again, I'm Alex Joel. A little disappointed by the questions I got. I didn't get to flex my muscle, the things I'm strong on. Local police force is important. RCMP statistically underserves almost every community across this country, and we just had a 24% increase in policing costs. Do you think you're getting 24% better service? The answer is no. Ward system. We have so many unique communities across this city that there's no way that they're all being adequately represented. If you love democracy, you're going to love a ward system. Go to www.alexjoel.com for more info on this. And if not just to vote for me, to hold these people more accountable to these issues no one else is talking about. I'm a member of many associations in the community, just like everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. My name is Margaret Kuntz. I'm an independent candidate. One of the things that I strove to do the last 4 years as I served this community was to show up, to answer emails, to answer phone calls, to dig into the issues that matter to you, to govern in a way that was fair for all the communities and for everyone that lives in the township of Langley. And I promise, and I'm dedicated to do that again for the next 4 years. And whoever gets to the table, whoever is our mayor, I'm willing and able and very a collaborative person, so I'll be there for you. On October 15, I'm the last name on the ballot, so save that last vote for me, Margaret Kuntz. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Kathy McDonald. I'm running with Team Elevate Langley. I think everyone in this room should be really excited for the future of Langley because all these bright candidates are so excited to improve the council that we have for the next 4 years. So you should all be super excited about what the future holds. What's been unique about this campaign for me is meeting every community and finding out every community is different. They have specific needs. And what our team wants to have is that open door platform where you can come to us at our office, on our phone, and let us know what your needs are, what your issues are. Myself, my team, and Rich Coleman want to be there for you in every community to understand what your needs are and how you're unique and how we can help you. So on October 15th, vote number 15, Kathy McDonald. It's my son's jersey number for hockey. Thank you.
Hi, Barb Martins with Contract with Langley. Thank you for this opportunity to come tonight and present to you all. I have a heart for people. I've spent 29 years serving people, all people, and everyone is equally valuable and important. I look forward to any input from any of you, any questions that I can speak further on our platform, but I hope for your support on October 15th that you will vote for Barb Martins and the Contract with Langley. Thank you.
I'm Karen Moraes. I'm lucky number 7 on the ballot, which I say lucky 7 because I have 7 children. I'm here to build a better Langley. I've sat on many boards on different PACs. I've seen the impact of different things throughout Langley. You will not see my signs or flyers or cards out there because I don't believe in adding to the paper waste. I'm hoping this will lead to a trend down the road of not having to see all those signs posted all over the place. Please vote October 15th. I call Langley home, and I would like this to be a better place for myself, my kids, and in the future, grandkids. Thank you.
Hi there, Sierra Pilcher with Elevate Langley and Rich Coleman. I am second on the ballot, and I'm just hoping for a chance to serve the Langley Township. I'm a big advocate for transparency, accountability, and listening to the community to solve the issues that are facing you. So there's been a lot of really good ideas today. I think we definitely need to focus on the issues facing us, such as home ownership or affordable home ownership, helping our vulnerable get off the streets and protecting our environment, as well as the other issues facing us today. So you can read more about our platform, as Sukhman said, on our flyers and also on our website. And thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you, everyone, for putting this together today. And yeah, vote for Sierra Pilcher and Elevate Langley. Thank you so much.
Carrie Poitras. First, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. It's really great to see the engagement. And for those of you wearing orange shirts, thank you especially. As a Métis woman, it really warms my heart to see that from the community. I'm running because I've seen Langley struggling in the last few years with the urban growth that we've had and eroding ALR lands, and I really want to be part of that conversation to change that. So I'm running as an independent candidate, and I hope on October 15th you'll consider to vote for me. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Pratt, and I wanted to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. And the reason I'm running is because I believe that we need people on council who are going to wake up every single day and realize that we're there to serve. It's not a right to sit on council. It's a privilege. And so you deserve a council that's made up of people who are actually able to put pettiness aside, focus on tangible ideas that can actually be achieved, and work together to achieve those. The time is gone for pettiness and for division. So we need to work together, and we need to have an actual vision of what our community is going to be moving forward. I hope that I can earn your support. I hope that I can have as many conversations with you as possible over the next 4 years, and I look forward to earning your support on October 15th.
I'm Cameron Spondek, and if you vote the same way during this election that you voted 4 years ago, you're going to be back here in 4 years with the same issues. So what you need to do is vote logically and vote for change. And I'm here to be that logic, be that change, and help the most amount of people that I can. I have no preconceived notions. I have no money in my pocket from any donors. I fully funded my own campaign. So I'm completely independent. I'm here to serve you guys, and I hope you vote for me on the 15th. Thank you.
Kim Richter, thank you all so much for listening tonight, but I'd like to use my time to acknowledge somebody who's not on this stage, but is in the audience and has been on this stage for 3 elections in 12 years. Councillor David Davis has been the hardest working councillor we have in the township. Please give him a standing applause. He deserves every bit of it.
So I'm Navin Thakur with the Elevate Langley team. So basically, we want to just give you guys simple, realistic commitments, and we want to follow through on every single thing that we promise you. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that we won't actually promise things that are going to end up raising your taxes. I know with a lot of like big things that are being promised, we're going to end up paying for it. So we don't want anybody to pay for it. We want to raise the bar, not your taxes.
Teresa Townsley, independent candidate. We are a community of hardworking people, and we know from the news that hard times are coming. There is a global financial crisis, and we need to prepare for federal and provincial downloading that's going to affect how our local government can provide the amenities that we love as people that live in Langley. We need to make sure that we have the reserves to act quickly during climate change. We saw what happened in Abbotsford. And this is no time for fiscal experimentation. I'd like you to vote for integrity, for reason, for responsibility and transparency. I would like you to vote for Townsley for Township on October 15th.
We're neighbors. I live up the street. I hope if you see me riding my blue bike around town that you'll stop me and engage me in some conversations about the things that matter here. Remember on voting day to vote for those with experience and skill sets that matter. I love this town and would be honored to receive your support. You can vote for more of the same, or you can vote for change. Historically, Langley has had challenges getting big ideas done with 9 well-meaning independents, so it's time for a team approach. The Contract with Langley team has big ideas that won't raise your taxes. Langley is a great place, but it could be even better with a real plan for progress. I'm Misty Van Popta. Vote the contract.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for showing up to a municipal election info session. It's Tony Ward. I'm running for a number of reasons. I wrote down them all sporadically here, but one of them is to stabilize the tax rate. So you might ask, is the tax rate in flux? And it actually is. In the last 15 years alone, if you want to do the math, it's gone anywhere from 0, actually minus 0.24, all the way to 11.03%. We would never tolerate that with other taxes, and we would say something, but this has been in flux. And why it's important is because we've had 5 times our interest rates have risen already this year, 3% total. Now is not the time to take risky chances with prearranged decision-making at the council table. So totally independent, Tony Ward, please vote for me. Thank you.
Gerald Wartak, I'm with Rich Coleman, Elevate Langley. I want to thank everyone for being here and the FLCA for having us. We've covered a lot of questions here today, but the reality is there's a lot we haven't covered. We didn't get to talk too much about public safety. We didn't get into affordability. We didn't get into recreational facilities, both young and old. And the reality is I just invite everyone, take the time, look at our platform, elevate.langley.ca, but everyone else's. Just make sure that your vote is reflective of your needs and your budget. Thank you.
Patrina Arneson, I seek your support on October 15th for a 3rd term. I just want to say how much I do sincerely appreciate everyone coming tonight. I think it's been very informative. It's a great way to understand where people are coming from. I would also encourage everybody to really look, if at all possible, into what people have done in the last 8 years, including myself. I think for me, actions speak much louder than words. We can say and promise anything we like in an election period, but what people have done is truly important. I am an independent candidate. I'm proud to be so, and thank you very much, and I look forward to your support on October 15th. Thank you.
Tim Bailey with Contract for Langley.
I started my public service over 50 years ago. My father was in the Navy, and I was voluntold that you're going to start giving back to the community, and have ever since. But what we didn't talk about here today, and I want to make sure it gets driven, is emergency services are expensive, okay? And I'm going to be driving like hell to get not only the fire service up to where it should be, but also I went down to Katrina and did work down there and saw the results of floods much worse than last November. So I'm going to be going after getting the emergency services up. So if you can vote for me on October the 15th, hang on to your drawers.
Scott Cameron with Elevate Langley. Growing up in Langley, I had an incredible experience, and a big reason for that was because of Rich Coleman and his leadership for what he provided to us in this community. So, as somebody who has a son, I'm sure people in this crowd here have children, they have grandchildren. I would ask for you to vote Elevate Langley on October 15th so we can continue to have a strong Langley here. Thank you.
Okay, this is Carlos Suarez Rubio here. I'm running as an independent, and I encourage you to come and vote, not for me, not for them, vote for you, because democracy is about you. It's about removing tyrants. It's about cutting off the cycle of corruption. It's about keeping government accountable. So it's about you. But vote for those that gonna bring solutions to the problem within 4 years, no longer than that. Keep government accountable. Please come out and vote. Thank you.
Okay, this is the last one, so I'm going to be short. Okay, my name is Michael Chang, and I think this is really a great experience for me, because I show why I run for the council of Langley, and because township is changing, and so we need a new council with a new voice and new ideas and new perspective, and because we love township, we make the better township for next 5 years and 10 years, even 20 years. So we have a really, make the really strong platform from this council to begin the new Langley. And my ballot number is 5, so I have a kind of a new logo. It's a high five for the better Langley, and my name is Michael Chang.
So thank you to all of the candidates for being here this evening and sharing your vision with us for the future of the Township of Langley. I realize you only had a little taste of each candidate this evening. I do encourage you to explore the candidates' platforms through the publications that they have on the back table, or by going online to hear more from them. And again, we will be posing all of the questions that were used this evening. We will be sending out to them, giving them the opportunity to respond to them in writing, and we will then share that on the Facebook or on the website, the Fort Langley Community Association website. Thank you for being such an amazingly respectful and engaged audience. I love looking out and seeing people taking notes and really trying to learn about the candidates. Thank you again to all of the volunteers that have made this important event happen this evening. We'll have a few minutes after we're done. We are going to ask the candidates to stick around for a little bit so that people can have a little one-on-one time. You may have a burning question for a specific candidate, or maybe just a topic that we didn't get to this evening that you really want to explore with the candidates. So we invite you to stay and to meet with the candidates, and thank you once again for coming out this evening. Thank you. Thank you.